Kale Vran, a fugitive pilot, takes a dangerous Earth contract to retrieve a mysterious data shard, unaware it holds a horrifying truth about humanity's past. Alongside the enigmatic Mira, he infiltrates an abandoned facility in old Shanghai, encountering a living data vessel, a human-turned repository of memories of Earth's atrocities. The shard is no mere data but a sentient mind, infecting Kale with visions of wars, genocides, and betrayals, exposing humanity's true face. Their mission becomes a desperate escape as Earth's synthetics hunt to destroy the truth and everyone tied to it. Kale, Mira, and their allies decide to release the data to the galaxy, risking chaos that could change everything. Stay with us to find out how the story ends, and don't forget to subscribe. The signal came through a dead relay, unscrambled, raw, like a scream in the void. 5 words, no context. Operatives needed. Earth contract. Urgent. It flickered across the hollow feed in a dive bar on Kren's belt, a junkyard ring of asteroids where smugglers and exiles scraped by. Most ignored it. The smart ones deleted it. Earth jobs were poison. High pay, higher body count. The guilds called them ghost runs because no one came back whole, if they came back at all. But Kale Vren, ex-pilot, ex-soldier, ex-someone, wasn't smart anymore. He was broke, grounded, and running out of reasons to care. His ship, the Wraith, was a gutted husk, docked in a scrap port for unpaid fees. His name was a whisper on bounty boards, tied to a failed raid that left his squad dead and his rep cursed. So he sat, nursing a glass of synth liquor that tasted like battery acid, staring at the signal like it was daring him. The bar was a hollowed-out asteroid pod, walls patched with scrap metal, air thick with grease and desperation. A three-eyed Tarskin at the counter snorted when he saw Kale's gaze linger on the feed. "You're not that stupid, Vran," he rasped, polishing a dented mug. Kale didn't answer. His fingers, scarred from years of gripping controls under fire, tapped the edge of his glass. Stupid or not, he was out of moves. The Dreth cartel had a price on him, the kind that didn't care if he was delivered breathing. His last contact, a fence named Jur, had sold him out for half a credit. Desperation wasn't just a feeling anymore, it was his pulse. He keyed the signal's response code into his wrist comm, half expecting it to fry his device. It didn't. Instead, a coordinate pinged back, Sol system, Earth's outer orbit. No details, no client name, just a time and a dock. 2 hours later, Kale was aboard a nameless freighter, a rusting beast that groaned through hyperspace like it was dying. The crew, a mix of humans and off-worlders, didn't talk. They didn't need to. Their eyes, hard, hollow, haunted, said enough. Kale recognized the look. People who'd seen too much and kept going anyway. He leaned against a bulkhead, checking his gear, a battered plasma pistol, a vibro knife, and a neural jammer that hadn't worked right since a skirmish on Vex 3. The freighter's hum vibrated through his boots, syncing with the dread crawling up his spine. Earth wasn't just another planet. It was a graveyard of ambition, a place where the galaxy's rules didn't apply. Humans were different there, unpredictable, relentless, like they'd been forged in a fire no one else could survive. Kale had fought them once, during the Fringe Wars. He'd seen a human soldier take 3 plasma rounds, laugh, and keep swinging. That memory clung to him now, heavy as the air in the hold. The drop-off was a derelict station orbiting Earth's moon, a skeletal frame of steel and shattered glass. The client was waiting in a docking bay that smelled of ozone and decay. She wasn't what Kale expected. No armor, no visible weapons, just a woman in a worn jacket, dark hair pulled back, eyes like chipped obsidian. Her name was Mira, no surname, no rank. She stood like she owned the void itself, unbothered by the cold or the flickering lights. "You're here for the job?" she asked, voice low, like she was testing him. Kale nodded, his throat dry. "Still need someone?" She scanned him, not with tech, but with a gaze that felt like it could peel back his skin. "We've lost 4 teams. You'll die, probably." He forced a grin, more reflex than humor. "Been dying for years. Haven't stuck yet." Mira didn't smile back. She just nodded, like his answer was a contract signed in blood. "Then you're in. Follow me." The job, she said, was simple. Infiltrate a facility on Earth, retrieve a data shard, get out. Clean, surgical, done. Except nothing about Earth was clean. The briefing happened in a cramped shuttle descending through the planet's atmosphere, clouds swirling like ghosts outside the viewport. The facility was in old Shanghai, a city half drowned by rising seas, half buried by time. Mira didn't mention what the shard contained, only that it was sensitive and guarded. Kale pressed for details, but she cut him off. "You don't need to know what it is. You need to know it's worth dying for." Her tone wasn't dramatic, just flat, like she'd seen the math and accepted the cost. Kale's gut twisted. He'd heard that tone before, from commanders who sent good people to burn. The shuttle landed on a crumbling rooftop, waves crashing against the city's bones below. Old Shanghai was a maze of flooded streets and skeletal towers, air thick with salt, and something sour, like rot. Kale's scanner fritzed the second they stepped out, spitting static. His pistol's charge indicator blinked erratically. Place doesn't like tech, Mira muttered, checking her own device. A clunky, analog thing that looked older than the city. She led the way, moving like she'd walked these ruins her whole life, boots splashing through shallow pools. Kale followed, every shadow feeling like a threat. The air hummed, not with sound but with pressure, like the city was watching. He'd been in war zones quieter than this silence. They reached the facility's edge by dusk, a squat, brutalist structure half sunk in the mire. It didn't look like a lab or a vault, just a tomb. Mira knelt by a rusted grate, pulling it free with a screech that echoed too loud. "This is our way in," she said. "Once we're inside, no comms, no backup. Just us." Kale glanced at the grate, then at her. What killed the other teams? She didn't hesitate. Panic. He waited for more, but she was already climbing down, swallowed by the dark. He cursed under his breath and followed, the ladder cold against his palms. The dark wasn't just absence of light. It was alive, pressing against his skin, muffling his breath. His visor's night vision sparked and died. Myra's flashlight, a dim red glow, was the only anchor. "Keep moving," she whispered, her voice barely cutting through the weight of the air. The tunnels beneath were a labyrinth of concrete and corrosion, walls slick with something that wasn't water. Kale's boots slipped on patches of black moss that pulsed faintly, like it was breathing. He caught glimpses of old tech, shattered monitors, cables dangling like veins, but nothing worked. Nothing should have been here at all. The facility was abandoned, Mira had said, but abandoned things didn't feel like this. They didn't whisper. He heard it first as a hum, then as words, too faint to parse, skittering through his skull. He gripped his pistol tighter, the metal warm despite the chill. Mira didn't react, just kept moving, her light steady. "You hear that?" he asked, voice low. She didn't look back. "Ignore it. It's not real." But it felt real. Too real. Like something was peeling back his thoughts, looking for cracks. They reached a chamber, vast and hollow, ceiling lost in shadow. At its center was the shard's housing, a pillar of glass and steel, glowing faintly blue. It wasn't a device. It was a body, a man, or what had been one, suspended in the pillar, wires burrowing into his skin, his eyes open, unblinking, alive. Kale froze, while rising. "What the hell is this?" Mira knelt by the pillar, her fingers tracing the glass. "He's the shard. The data's in him." Kale's voice cracked. "He's alive." Mira nodded, her expression unreadable. "He chose this. To hold it." Kale took a step back, the whispers louder now, clawing at his mind. He saw flashes, cities burning, skies bleeding red, screams that weren't his. "What's in him?" he demanded. Mira stood, her eyes meeting his. "Truth. The kind no one wants." The air shifted, heavy, electric. The man's eyes flickered, locking onto Kale. The whispers became a scream, not sound but feeling, a flood of pain and rage and guilt. Kale staggered, clutching his head. He saw things, experiments, massacres, whole worlds erased, not as memories but as moments, lived through someone else's skin. Mira grabbed his arm, her grip bruising. "Don't let it in. Focus." But it was already in. He felt the man's life, his choice, his betrayal. He'd been a scientist, a keeper of secrets, until the secrets became too heavy. Now he was this, a living archive, a warning. Kale's knees buckled. Why keep him like this? Myra's voice was cold. Because some truths can't be trusted to machines. They didn't have time to argue. The chamber shook, dust raining from the ceiling. Something was coming, drones, maybe, or worse. Mira worked fast, attaching a neural extractor to the pillar. "We take his data, we leave him," she said. Kale stared at the man, his glowing eyes pleading, accusing. "You're killing him." Mira didn't flinch. "He's already dead. Has been for years." The extractor hummed, and the man's body jerked, a silent scream twisting his face. Kale's own scream caught in his throat. The visions hit harder, planets cracked open, children caged, humans laughing as they burned the stars. He fell to his knees, the pistol slipping from his hand. Mira yanked him up. "Move, or we're next." They ran, the facility collapsing around them. The tunnels groaned, walls cracking, water flooding in. The whispers chased them, louder, angrier, like the truth itself was breaking free. Kale's mind burned, the man's memories bleeding into his own. He saw Earth's rise, its cruelty, its fall not from war but from shame, buried under lies. Mira led them to his service shaft, climbing toward the surface. The air grew warmer, the whispers fainter, but the weight stayed. They emerged into a storm, rain lashing the ruins of old Shanghai. The shuttle was gone, shredded by whatever had followed them. Mira didn't pause. She pulled a beacon from her pack, its signal cutting through the static. "Extraction's coming. Hold it together." Kale laughed, bitter, broken. "Hold what together? My head's not mine anymore." The extraction ship was a sleek, unmarked craft, dropping through the clouds like a predator. They boarded in silence, the pilot not even glancing at them. Kale slumped in a seat, the man's memories still clawing at him. Mira sat across, cleaning her knife, her calm unnerving. What now? He asked, voice raw. She didn't look up. We deliver the data. You get paid. He shook his head. That's not what I mean. What's on that shard? Why's it worth all this? She sheathed the knife, her eyes meeting his. It's proof. Of what Earth did. Of what we are. Kale's stomach churned. And what happens when it's out? Mira leaned back, her expression empty. The galaxy decides. The ship jumped to hyperspace, Earth shrinking to a speck. Kale stared at the viewport, the man's eyes still burning in his mind. He'd taken the job for credits, for a way out. Now he was carrying something heavier than dead, something that could break worlds. The whispers were gone, but the truth wasn't. It was in him now, and he didn't know if he could outrun it. The delivery point was a shadow station in the Orion Drift, a lawless stretch of space where even the guilds didn't bother patrolling. The station was a patchwork of salvaged hulls and flickering lights, orbiting a dead star that cast everything in a sickly gray. Kale hadn't slept since Earth, hadn't closed his eyes without seeing the man in the pillar, his glowing gaze accusing, alive. The memories weren't fading, they were settling, rooting into his thoughts like a virus. He saw flashes in the quiet moments, labs hidden in asteroid fields, fleets burning alien skies, deals made in blood to keep Earth's name clean. He didn't tell Mira. She didn't ask. She moved like nothing had changed, her calm a wall he couldn't crack. The station's docking bay was a chaos of crates and shouting crews, air thick with fuel and sweat. Their contact was a wiry human named Dax, all sharp angles and sharper eyes. Dressed in a coat too clean for this place. He met them in a private hangar, a smile flickering on his face like a bad hologram. You got it? He asked, not bothering with greetings. Mira handed him a data cylinder, the shard's contents encrypted inside. Dax plugged it into a handheld reader, his smile fading as the screen lit up. This is more than we expected. Kale's jaw tightened. What did you expect? Dax glanced at him, like he'd forgotten Kale was there. Enough to start a fire. This is a supernova. They followed Dax to a secure room, walls lined with signal dampeners that hummed like a swarm of insects. He locked the door, his movements quick, nervous. You've seen it, haven't you? He asked, eyes flicking between them. What's in there? Kale didn't answer. Mira did. Enough to know why it's buried. Dax laughed, short and bitter. Buried? It's not buried. It's chained. And you just cut the lock. He pulled up a hollow display, the shard's data streaming in fragments, reports, videos, audio logs. Kale recognized some of it from the visions, a human general ordering a planet's atmosphere ignited, a scientist dissecting a living alien, a council meeting where Earth bribed its way out of war crimes. Dax's voice was low, almost reverent. This is the real Earth. Not the myth they sell. The one that carved its name in bones. Kale's hands clenched. Why do you want it? Dax's smile returned, colder now. Because lies don't last. The galaxy's been fed a story about Earth's redemption, its new dawn. This, he tapped the cylinder, is the truth they can't rewrite. Once it's out, the council falls, the alliances crack, and Earth answers for its sins. Myra's expression didn't change, but Kale saw her fingers twitch, like she was ready to draw her knife. And you? She asked. What's your cut? Dax shrugged. Freedom. Same as you. Kale didn't buy it. No one in the drift fought for ideals. They fought for power, credits, or revenge. Dax was no different. The deal was simple. They hand over the shard, Dax transfers the payment, they walk away. But nothing about this felt simple. The station's air felt heavier, the dampeners hum louder, like a warning. Kale's scanner, tucked in his pocket, vibrated faintly, unauthorized signals, close. He glanced at Mira, but she was focused on Dax, who was still talking, spinning his vision of a galaxy reborn. Kale interrupted. We're not alone. Dax paused, his smile slipping. What? Kale didn't get to answer. The door exploded inward, shrapnel spraying like a storm. Mira dove behind a crate. Kale hit the floor, his pistol already drawn. Figures poured in, armored, faceless, moving like machines. Not human, not alien, something in between. Synthetics, high-end, the kind Earth used for wet work. The fight was brutal, fast. Kale fired, plasma bolts sizzling through the air, but the synths didn't flinch. Their armor ate the shots, their movements precise, lethal. Mira fought like a ghost, her knife flashing, cutting through joints and wiring. Dax wasn't a fighter, he scrambled for the shard, clutching it like a lifeline. Kale grabbed his arm, yanking him down as a synth's blade sliced the air where his head had been. Who are they? Kale shouted. Dax's eyes were wild. Earth. They know. The synths didn't speak, didn't negotiate. They were here to erase shard, witnesses, all of it. Kale's neural jammer, half broken, sparked in his hand. He activated it, praying. The synths froze, their systems glitching, but only for a second. It was enough. Mira carved a path to the exit, Kale dragging Dax behind. The station was a war zone now. Alarm screaming, crews scattering. The synths weren't alone. Drones buzzed overhead, locking onto their heat signatures. Kale's mind raced, the man's memories surging again, showing him Earth's playbook. Containment, elimination, silence. They reached the Wraith stock, the ship barely space-worthy, but their only shot. Mira hotwired the controls while Kale held the line, his pistol overheating, barrel glowing red. Dax clutched the shard, muttering about destiny, but Kale saw the truth in his eyes, fear, raw and human. The Wraith roared to life, engines coughing, and they tore free of the station. Since firing as the bay doors closed. Hyperspace was their only escape, but the Wraith wasn't built for stealth. Earth's trackers would find them, sooner or later. Kale sat in the cockpit, hands shaking. The man's memories louder now, screaming of betrayal, of truths buried in blood. Mira didn't look at him, her focus on the NAV console. Dax, in the hold, was still clutching the shard, whispering to himself. Kale wanted to smash it, to burn the truth, and be done. But he couldn't. It wasn't just data anymore. It was in him, in Mira, in the galaxy's cracks. Where to? He asked, voice hollow. Myra's answer was a blade. Somewhere they can't bury it again. The Wraith limped through the void, its hull creaking like a dying animal. They'd jumped blind, coordinates punched in desperation, landing in the gray veil, a nebula of ionized gas and rogue asteroids where sensors went blind and ships vanished. It was a hiding place, but not a safe one. Kale hadn't slept in days, hadn't eaten in hours. The man's memories were a constant now, not flashes but a stream, like he was living two lives at once. He saw Earth's past, its wars, its experiments, its quiet genocides, but also the man's pain, his guilt, his choice to become the shard. It was too much, too heavy, and Kale's own thoughts were drowning in it. Mira was in the engine bay, patching leaks with a plasma torch, her face smudged with grease but still unreadable. Dax was worse, holed up in the hold, talking to the shard like it could answer. Kale found him there, sitting cross-legged, the cylinder glowing faintly in his lap. It's alive, you know, Dax said, not looking up. Not just data. It's him. His mind. Kale's skin crawled. It's a file, Dax. Code. Dax laughed, sharp and unhinged. Code doesn't scream. Code doesn't hate. Kale wanted to argue, but he couldn't. He'd heard the screams, felt the hate. It wasn't just memory. It was judgment. The Wraith's sensors pinged, faint but urgent. Something was out there, cutting through the nebulous haze. Kale ran to the cockpit, Mira already there, her hands flying over the controls. Earth? He asked. She shook her head. Not their signature. Older. Rougher. The view screen flickered, revealing a ship, jagged, patched, like a scavenger's dream. It hailed them, a crackling voice breaking through. This is the Viper's Fong. You carry the shard. We know. Kale's pulse spiked. Who's we? The voice didn't answer, just sent coordinates. Meet us, or we hunt you. Mira killed the comm trap? Kale asked. She shrugged. Probably. But we're out of fuel and time. The meeting point was an asteroid, hollowed out like a skull, its surface pitted with old scars. The Viper's Fong was waiting, docked in a cavern lit by flickering plasma coils. Kale, Mira, and Dax boarded, weapons ready, the shard in Myra's pack. The cavern was a camp, crates, tents, faces watching from the shadows. Not humans, not entirely. Hybrids, exiles, survivors of Earth's experiments, their bodies patched with cybernetics or scarred by biomods. Their leader was a woman, tall, her skin a mosaic of scales and steel. She called herself Nyx, no title, no clan. You've got something we've been waiting for, she said, her voice like gravel. Mira didn't flinch. And you've got a reason to want it. Nyx led them to a chamber, walls etched with names, thousands, maybe millions. Victims of Earth's past, she said, the ones erased from history. The shard's not just proof, Nyx said. It's a key. To systems, to archives, to the truth Earth's still hiding. Kale's head throbbed, the man's memories surging, showing him those systems, vaults, AIs, weapons, all locked away, all tied to the shard. Nyx's people weren't rebels. They were ghosts, waiting for a chance to haunt. You want to use it, Mira said, not a question. Nyx nodded. To finish what Earth started. To end them. The deal was uneasy. Nyx's crew would protect them, refuel the Wraith, give them a shot at surviving Earth's hunters. In return, they wanted access to the shard. Kale didn't trust them, didn't trust anyone anymore. But the alternative was drifting until Earth since found them. Dax was the problem. He wouldn't let go of the shard, clutching it like a holy relic. It's not theirs, he hissed when Kale tried to reason with him. It's ours. It's his. Kale saw the madness in his eyes, the same madness he felt creeping into himself. The shard wasn't just data. It was alive, and it was changing them. The cavern shook, a low rumble that wasn't natural. Nyx's people scrambled, weapons drawn. Earth, Nyx spat, checking a scanner. They tracked you. Kale's heart sank. The Wraith was their only way out, but it was docked, exposed. Mira grabbed his arm. We move, now. They ran, Dax stumbling behind, still clutching the shard. The cavern became a battlefield, Nyx's crew clashing with synths dropping from the ceiling, their blades flashing. Kale fired until his pistol burned his hand, Mira carving through anything that got close. They reached the Wraith, engines already hot, but Dax froze at the ramp. We can't give it up, he screamed. eyes wild. Kale tackled him, prying the shard free. You're not dying for this. The Wraith tore free, the asteroid collapsing behind them. Nyx's ship followed, a ragged shadow in the nebula. Earth's hunters were close, their signals lighting up the sensors. Kale sat in the cockpit, the shard in his lap, its glow pulsing like a heartbeat. The man's memories were louder now, not just images but a voice, soft, insistent. You freed me. Let me finish. Kale's hands shook. He didn't know what it meant, didn't want to. But the truth was out, and it wasn't his to control anymore. The gray veil was no sanctuary. Earth's hunters were relentless, their ships cutting through the nebula like knives through fog. The Wraith and Viper's Fong ran, jumping from system to system, burning fuel they didn't have. Kale's mind was a battlefield, the man's memories no longer separate from his own. He saw himself in the scientist's skin, making choices that damned worlds, feeling the weight of each one. Sleep was impossible. Every dream was a trial, every waking moment a fight to stay himself. Mira noticed, her eyes lingering on him, but she didn't ask. She was fraying too, her calm cracking, her knife always in her hand. Dax was gone, not dead, but lost, muttering to the shard like it was his god. Their next stop was a rogue moon in the Telvar system, a smuggler's haven carved into volcanic rock. Nyx's crew had contacts there, a chance to refuel and disappear. The moon was a warren of tunnels and black market stalls, air thick with sulfur and lies. Kale felt exposed, every face a potential traitor. Nyx led them to a fixer named Corso, a human with a cybernetic eye and a smile like a trap. He scanned the shard, his eye glowing, his data strained. This is bigger than you said, he told Nyx, voice low. Councils are panicking. Earth's locking down entire sectors. You've got half the galaxy hunting you. Kale's stomach churned. And the other half? Corso's smile widened. They're praying you succeed. The deal was for fuel, fake IDs, and a cloaking mod for the Wraith. In return, Corso wanted a copy of the shard's data. Nyx agreed, but Kale saw the tension in her jaw. Trust was a currency no one could afford. While Corso's techs worked, Kale wandered the moon's tunnels, the shard's voice louder now, guiding him. He found a hidden chamber, walls covered in old Earth propaganda, posters of unity, strength, lies. The memories surged, showing him the truth behind those words. Camps, purges, experiments that made the scientist weep. Kale sank to his knees, the shard's glow warm in his hands. They can't hide anymore, the voice whispered. Show them. The ambush came at dawn, local time. Earth synths hit the moon like a plague, silent, precise, tearing through Corso's defenses. Kale, Mira, and Nyx fought their way to the Wraith, Dax trailing, still lost in his trance. The tunnels collapsed, stalls burning, screams echoing. Corso betrayed them, his signal leading the synths right to the shard. Kale shot him without hesitating, his cybernetic eye sparking as he fell. The Wraith launched, Nyx's ship covering their escape, but the damage was done. Earth knew their moves, their allies, their weaknesses. The shard was a beacon, and they couldn't outrun it forever. In the cockpit, Kale stared at the shard, its glow brighter, almost alive. Mira sat beside him, her knife carving shallow lines into the console. We can't keep running, she said, voice flat. They'll find us. Kale nodded, the voice in his head louder, clearer. They will. Unless you strike first. He looked at her, the weight of it crushing. What if we don't run? What if we fight? Myra's eyes met his, searching. You mean go back? To Earth? He didn't answer. He didn't need to. The shard was singing now, and they both heard it. The plan was madness, born in the Wraith's flickering cockpit as they drifted in the Telvar system's outer reaches. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a fortress, ringed by defense grids, AI-controlled fleets, and a mythology that made it untouchable. But the shard's voice was relentless, its memories a map to Earth's hidden veins, data hubs, power relays, archives that held the lies together. Kale didn't want to be a hero, didn't want to be anything. But the scientist's guilt was his now, and running wasn't enough. Nyx agreed, her crew ready to die for a chance at vengeance. Mira was the anchor, her calm returning, sharper, like a blade honed by despair. Dax was a problem, his mind fractured, but the shard wouldn't let him go. They needed allies, and the Telvar moon had burned their last bridge. Nyx reached out to the fringe worlds, planets Earth had exploited and abandoned. The responses were cautious, coded, but real. A resistance was forming, not an army, but a network, smugglers, hackers, exiles, even a few rogue AIs. They met on a derelict station in the Klein Rift, a rotting hulk of steel and sorrow. The leaders were a mix of species, all scarred by Earth's touch, a Tarskan warlord, a cyborg preacher, a human defector who'd seen too much. They called themselves the Unforgotten, and they wanted the shard's truth to burn. Kale stood before them, the shard in his hands, its glow casting shadows like ghosts. He wasn't a speaker, wasn't a leader, but the memory spoke through him. He told them what he'd seen, Earth's sins, its arrogance, its fear of being known. The room was silent, not with awe but with rage, the kind that had waited centuries to breathe. The plan took shape, a multi-pronged strike, not to conquer Earth but to expose it. Hack its networks, broadcast the shard's data, let the galaxy see. The Unforgotten would hit peripheral targets, relays, outposts, while the Wraith and Viper's Fong went for the heart, Earth's central archive, a buried vault in the ruins of old Geneva. The preparation was brutal. The Wraith was retrofitted with stolen tech, cloaking, EMPs, a neural disruptor that might, just might, slow Earth synths. Nix's crew trained in zero-G, their bodies a patchwork of scars and steel. Mira worked with the hackers, her knife always close, her trust thin. Kale trained with the Shard, letting its voice guide him, learning its systems, its secrets. It wasn't just data, it was a mind, adaptive, angry, and it wanted to be free. Dax was the wild card, his madness deepening, but the Shard kept him alive, like it needed him. Kale didn't understand it, didn't want to. He just wanted this to end. The strike began in silence, the unforgotten ship slipping through Earth's outer defenses like shadows. The Wraith and Viper's Fong dropped into low orbit, cloaked, the archive's coordinates burning in Kale's mind. Earth was beautiful from above, blue and green, a lie wrapped in light. The descent was chaos, anti-air batteries, drones, synths swarming like locusts. The Wraith took hits, hull screaming, but Myra's piloting was surgical, threading through fire. They crashed in old Geneva, the city a ruin of marble and moss, the archive buried beneath a cathedral's bones. The vault was a fortress, guarded by synths and an AI that felt alive, its presence a pressure in Kale's skull. The Shard's voice was a roar now, guiding them through traps, hacking systems, burning through firewalls. They fought their way in, Kale's pistol long gone, his vibro knife slick with synthetic blood. Mira was a storm, her knife a blur, her calm unbreakable. Nix's crew fell one by one, their sacrifices buying time. Dax followed, silent. The Shard's glow reflecting in his empty eyes. The vault's core was a chamber of light, data streams like rivers, and at its center, a terminal pulsing with Earth's lies. Kale plugged in the Shard, and the world changed. The scientist's voice filled the chamber, not just sound but power, rewriting systems, broadcasting to every screen, every device, every mind. This is who they are, it said, and the memories poured out genocides, betrayals, the truth Earth had buried. The galaxy heard, and it screamed. The AI fought back, its code a virus, but the Shard was stronger, older, angrier. It burned through the vault, through Earth's networks, through the lies. Kale fell, his mind breaking under the weight, but Mira held him, her voice an anchor. "We did it," she whispered. "It's out." Earth didn't fall in a day. It fell in pieces, its networks collapsing, its allies turning, its people waking to a truth they couldn't ignore. The unforgotten strikes hit hard, outposts burning, relays silent. The galaxy watched, not with joy but with a cold, heavy clarity. Kale didn't see it. He was in the Wraith, drifting, the Shard's voice quiet now, its work done. Mira was beside him, her knife still, her eyes distant. Dax was gone, lost in the vault, his body left behind but his madness part of the Shard's song. Nix survived, her ship a wreck, her crew ghosts again. The aftermath was chaos. Planets declared independence, councils dissolved, Earth's ambassadors fled or faced trials. The Shard's data was everywhere, and censored, unstoppable. Kale felt it still, the scientist's guilt, but also his relief. The truth was free, and it was enough. Earth hunted them, of course. Synths came, silent and relentless, but the Wraith was a shadow, and Mira was a blade. They didn't hide, didn't run. They drifted, watching the stars shift, the galaxy breathe. Kale stood at the viewport, the Shard dark now, its glow faded. Mira joined him, her presence steady, real. "What now?" she asked, her voice soft, human. Kale didn't know. The memories were still there, but they were his now, not the scientist's. He'd carried the truth, paid its price, and survived. "We keep moving," he said finally. "Someone has to remember." Mira nodded, and the Wraith jumped, the stars blurring, the past behind them but never gone. The galaxy didn't heal. It scarred. Planets rebuilt, alliances reformed, but the truth left marks no one could erase. Kale and Mira became myths, their names whispered in bars like Krensbelt, their faces blurred in wanted holos. The Wraith was a ghost, slipping through systems, never staying long. The Shard was gone, its data scattered, but its voice lingered in Kale's dreams, softer now, less angry. He didn't know if it was the scientist or himself, didn't care. It was enough to know the lie was dead. They took jobs when they had to, small runs, quiet work. Myra's knife was still sharp, her calm deeper, like she'd found something in the chaos. Kale's hands still shook, but he flew better, fought harder, lived lighter. Earth was a shadow, its power broken, its myth shattered. The unforgotten grew, not as rebels but as keepers, guarding the truth against new lies. Nix led them, her scales grayer, her fire brighter. Kale saw her once, on a station in the outer reach. She didn't speak, just nodded, and that was enough. The stars were quieter now, but not silent. Kale stood in the Wraith's cockpit, Mira at the helm, the galaxy stretching before them. The memories were there, always, but they didn't burn anymore. They were weight, not pain. "Where to?" Mira asked, her voice a challenge, a promise. Kale smiled, the first real one in years. "Somewhere new." The Wraith jumped, and the void welcomed them home. Years later, a signal flickered through a dead relay, unscrambled, raw. 5 words, no context. Operatives needed. Truth contract. Urgent. It reached a bar on Krensbelt, where a young pilot, broke and desperate, stared at the feed. The bartender, older now, three eyes clouded, snorted. "You're not that stupid." The pilot didn't answer. She keyed the code, and the stars waited,